Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Pete. So the Toronto Real Estate Board just released their sales figures for July. The sales trend and pattern followed exactly the way I was expecting it to be, because we started to see a slight uptick in May, and then we saw a gangbuster type of month in June, and then in July, you gotta watch the rest of the video to find out. But what I will say is, as the pandemic has slowed down and things have started to reopen again, people are not buying cautiously. In fact, intensity and aggression has actually even picked up, especially in the city and the core of Toronto. And what we can glean from the data and stats is truly interesting, because we've never been here before. We've never experienced anything like this before. So it gives us great insights into the minds of the buyers and sellers in this market right now in Toronto, because we are still in the throes of a pandemic. So we'll get a little bit into the numbers, and you'll get my signature take on what I think is happening right now, so that you can better prepare yourself whether you're thinking of buying or selling in the second half of 2020. More on that right after this, guys. So I've been truly fascinated about what's been going on, because I'm really into human behavior and understanding what people do in certain types of situations. And this is obviously as unique of a situation as it comes, as the world has come to a full standstill, but not Toronto real estate, surprisingly. And as we've been pretty busy over here in our brokerage, it was interesting to see what the overall numbers were looking like, because we were seeing that the market was incredibly active, very busy, and buyers are trying to pick up properties as aggressively and as strongly as possible. And the report done by the Toronto Real Estate Board was excellent, because it provided some really good insights about what's going on in people's minds, what's happening in the market, the dynamics right now. Because again, like I said, we've never been through this before. We've never experienced this. I mean, 100 years ago. But first off, to the numbers. So Toronto and the GTA reported a staggering 29.5% increase in sales transactions. Almost 30%. Wow. And while myself personally, I was expecting a big spike up, but I wasn't expecting a 30% increase, because typically the summer months are a little bit slower. You know, people go on vacation, kids are off school. But what's different this time around, obviously, is that everybody's here. Nobody's really going anywhere except maybe some cottaging. But the bigger story is probably because the spring market didn't materialize this year. So all of that pent up demand and you know, buyers wanting to get into the market got delayed and postponed and pushed back a few months. But it was a bit surprising to me that the market would actually go up 30%, which is absolutely ridiculous. But of course, after 10 years of selling real estate, nothing really ever surprises me about this market anymore. And the report notes that sales were mostly driven by low-rise, meaning people wanted more detached homes, semi-detached, and townhouses. And that the demand was particularly strong inside the core of Toronto, which is interesting, right? I mean, during a pandemic, you would think that people would want to be moving out to the suburbs. But it sounds like people still want to stay inside the city, because they still want to be close to everything, and they're willing to pay more to do so. Inventory was up fairly significantly to try to meet some of that demand, but simply it just wasn't enough. And so when you've got hungry home buyers with low interest rates driving up demand, what else do you think is going to happen? Sales are going to go up, and prices are going to go up. So is there a direct correlation or causation for people to think that, you know, buyers are ducking out of condos and or just wanting to buy detached or freehold properties? Maybe, possibly, but probably not. The interesting thing is that condo sales were actually also up for the month too. And again, it could be just pent up demand, and people that were going to make a move in the spring have just delayed it, and now they're doing it in the summertime. And for all my lovely and loyal watchers of this show, you all know that the people who are buying houses versus the people who are buying condos are a completely different demographic, and even a completely different cohort. You know, families versus single young professionals. So then average prices were up a whopping 16.9%, up to about $943,000, which is sizzling hot. And we might actually see $1 million average selling price in Toronto in 2020 during a pandemic. And of course, with low inventory and low interest rates, it's forcing buyers to bid up and drive up the prices in the core of Toronto, pushing us to new highs every single day. Condos didn't do too bad either, 8.8% growth compared to last year. And in the report from TREB, they noted that, yes, typically in the summer months, there's a lot more travel. People are not typically in the city, so buying activity does come down. So does that mean less travel equals more home buying? People are not really thinking, I'm not gonna go to Cancun this year. I've got the time and I've got the money. Why don't I just buy a new house? I'm not sure it quite works that way. So the big question is, will this buying frenzy and intensity carry into the fall of this year? area. So while we did lose about 1 to 2 months of sales activity overall, it looks promising that we'll be able to catch up to 2019 numbers in the next 2 or 3 months, which is encouraging, and it's a great sign for the economy. It's a great sign for the housing sector, banking, and it just shows the level of confidence and strength in the Toronto housing market overall. The rental market, that's a bit of a different story. So with things like low interest rates being a catalyst to get people to get out there and buy more homes, it will create more intense buying demand overall for the market here in Toronto. And another big question that it begs is the pandemic forcing people to move further and further away out of the city into the suburbs? Yes and no. We are seeing some people looking to more cottage type properties, maybe a little bit more of the older category, 50, 60 and up, who are looking to slow down and retire anyways. But right now, it looks like buyers are wanting to stay inside the city, and they're willing to pay a pretty penny for it, as the preferred property is the single detached home. Condo buyers are still condo buyers because they want the lifestyle, they want access to everything, they want to be able to walk to their restaurants, and typically it's a different price category from people who are buying houses anyways, where double income families need to think about safety, school zones, parks, and after school programs. And as we continue to see intense demand, it'll be interesting to see if we can hit that all-important $1 million average selling price, because we are definitely on pace in the next 1 or 2 months. And then as prices get more expensive inside the core of the city, it's going to make people start thinking, hey, maybe I'm going to have to start living out in the suburbs where there's better value, more space, more green space, and terrific for families. So stay tuned for all of that. We will continue to keep an eye on the market, and we'll report it here on the channel. Please be sure to give us a like, hit subscribe, leave us a comment, and we hope this video provided some insight and value to you. More importantly, if you're thinking of making a move and you want to buy and sell in the next couple of months, please be sure to give us a shout here at Selling Toronto. We'd be happy to help. So we'll talk to you soon, guys, and bye for now.